Camille thought Juliet was completely helpless. She had already ordered Judicial to prepare a new mayor, created the story of Juliet's heroic death, and was personally heading to the infirmary to finish the job. But Camille made one major mistake. She trusted the nurse standing beside Juliet, because Amy was never working for Camille. Before Juliet even realized her memories were being erased, Amy had already been secretly replacing her pills. And when Camille finally came to kill her, Amy knocked out Emerson, guided Juliet through a hidden escape route, and risked her own life to lead the raiders in the wrong direction. But here is the bigger question. Amy did not do this alone. Someone inside Silo 18 recruited her, planned this resistance in advance, and knew exactly how to weaken the memory protocol without alerting the algorithm. So who was secretly controlling Amy? And what does her betrayal reveal about the growing rebellion inside the silo? And if you're obsessed with uncovering the secrets of the silos, breaking down every hidden clue and exploring new theories after each episode, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and leave your own theory in the comments. I make these videos all by myself, so your support genuinely means a lot. And most importantly, subscribe if you would never volunteer to go outside and clean. Yeah, I didn't think so. Before we get into the deeper meaning of Amy's decision, here is the situation in simple terms. Camille enters the infirmary believing Juliet is trapped. The murder has been planned. The cover story is being prepared, and Robert Sims is arranging an interim mayor because Juliet is supposedly unlikely to survive the night. But that is not a medical prediction. It is a death sentence. Camille intends to kill Juliet and present her death as a tragic, heroic ending. What she does not realize is that Amy, the nurse assigned to Juliet, has never truly been on her side. Amy has secretly been replacing her memory-suppressing medication, and when Camille finally came to kill her, Amy knocked out Emerson, guided Juliet through a hidden passage, and risked her own life to lead the raiders in the wrong direction. But the biggest mystery is now who recruited Amy and how large the resistance inside Silo 18 has become. The most frightening part of this sequence is how calmly Camille prepares for Juliet's death. She is not improvising. The political machinery is already moving before she reaches the infirmary. Judicial is being told to begin installing an interim mayor, meaning the official version of events is being written while Juliet is still alive. Camille and the algorithm don't simply kill people, they control the meaning of their deaths. Juliet cannot merely disappear. She survived outside, returned alive, became mayor, and now represents something more dangerous than one rebellious engineer. She represents proof that the system can lie. If she dies suspiciously, people may question the regime. But if she dies after a brave struggle surrounded by officials who claim they tried to save her, then her death becomes propaganda. The algorithm removes the threat while preserving the comforting story that keeps everyone calm. That is why the idea of a heroic death is so disturbing. It sounds respectful, but it is another form of control. Camille is not only planning to take Juliet's life, she is planning to steal her story and rewrite it into something harmless. Juliet would be remembered as a courageous mayor who tragically could not survive, rather than the woman who discovered the truth about Silo 17, the safeguard, and the system manipulating everyone's memories. Sims offers to kill Juliet himself, partly from loyalty and partly to spare Camille the burden. But Camille refuses. She insists it has to be her. That choice shows how deeply Camille has surrendered to the algorithm's logic. Perhaps she believes doing it herself will prove her loyalty. Whatever the reason, the plan becomes painfully personal. She is preparing to stand beside a helpless woman, place a pillow over her face, and hold it there until she stops breathing. The political language disappears, and what remains is murder. That is exactly where Amy changes the episode. Until this moment, Amy can easily be dismissed as a minor medical worker following instructions. Camille believes Amy will sedate Juliet before she arrives, while Emerson makes sure the order is obeyed. From Camille's perspective, every exit has been closed. But Amy is already ahead of them. She turns the sedative on Emerson, knocking out the guard who was supposed to secure the room. Suddenly, the person Camille thought was controlling Juliet becomes the reason Juliet escapes. This is not a last-minute change of heart. Amy acts with preparation and confidence, telling us her betrayal began long before Camille answered the infirmary. Her confession confirms it. Amy tells Juliet that she had been secretly swapping out the memory-suppressing pills even before Juliet began spitting them out. That reveal changes how we understand Juliet's recovery. Juliet believes she was slowly defeating the medication through instinct and resistance. She realized something was wrong, stopped trusting the people around her, and began refusing the pills. All of that still matters, but Amy reveals that someone else had already created an opening. Juliet was not completely alone inside the trap. Someone had been quietly weakening the memory protocol from within. This may explain why Juliet's memories returned faster than Camille and the algorithm expected. They believed they controlled the dosage and were making decisions based on her behavior, but Amy had corrupted their information. The system was calculating risk using false data. That exposes a major weakness in the algorithm. It may predict unrest, manipulate populations, and calculate who must be sacrificed, but it still depends on human beings to carry out its instructions. The moment one nurse refuses to obey, the plan begins to collapse. Amy's role also creates the episode's biggest mystery. She says someone asked her to replace the pills, but she refuses to reveal who. The answer could expose a larger resistance network. Lucas Kyle is an obvious possibility. He knows Juliet, understands the hidden systems, and has already been connected to attempts to reach her. Recruiting someone inside the infirmary would be a smart way to help without exposing himself. Martha Walker is another possibility. She knows how to work around official systems and has deep relationships in mechanical and supply. Amy could be part of a network Walker has used before. There is also a chance Amy belongs to a resistance we have not fully seen. She tells Juliet that she basically grew up navigating the hidden passageways, suggesting her knowledge is personal and long-standing. She may have inherited secrets from people who resisted judicial long before Juliet became sheriff. That line about growing up in the passages is probably more important than it first sounds. In Silo, physical space represents power. The authorities control the staircase, cameras, public levels, and official routes. People like Amy survive by knowing the spaces between those structures. Hidden tunnels and forgotten access points create a second version of the silo that the regime cannot fully control. Amy is powerful not because she has a weapon or a title. She is powerful because she knows how to move unseen. Her choice is brave because she understands the consequences. Amy is attacking the algorithm's plan, assaulting Camille's guard, and assisting the most wanted person in the silo. If caught, she cannot pretend it was a misunderstanding. And eventually, she allows herself to be caught. This is where Amy's loyalty becomes undeniable. She guides Juliet towards safety, tells her to reach the pump room on level 76, and then deliberately draws the search team away. She knows Camille will discover that the medication was sabotaged, but she protects Juliet anyway. That choice separates Amy from characters who resist only when it is safe. She does not help from a distance and disappear. She stays behind so Juliet has a chance to escape. The episode also uses Amy as a strong attention reset. Until her betrayal, we expect attention to come from whether Juliet can physically resist Camille. Instead, the rescue comes from a character we were not trained to see as important. That surprise makes the escape satisfying without making it predictable. More importantly, it exposes Camille's biggest blind spot. Camille understands political structures and the algorithm's calculations, but she underestimates ordinary people. She assumes that because Amy is a nurse receiving orders through Emerson, Amy will obey. She never considers that Amy may have her own history and loyalties. Camille believes control flows downward. The algorithm gives the order, Camille interprets it, Emerson enforces it, and Amy follows it. But Amy breaks that chain. Once she does, every person above her loses control. This is why Amy is not merely not Team Camille. She is evidence that Camille may already be losing the silo without realizing it. The pills are being replaced, secret messages are reaching Juliet, hidden routes are being used. People inside official institutions are quietly choosing resistance. The rebellion may no longer be limited to Mechanical or Juliet's known allies. It could be inside the infirmary, supply, and every department the algorithm assumes it controls. Amy's actions also changed Juliet's emotional journey. Juliet has spent much of the season questioning her own mind. She cannot trust her memories, her reflection, or the people claiming to care for her. Amy's sacrifice gives her something she desperately needs: proof that someone believed her even when she could not fully believe herself. That may mark the beginning of the end of the memory storyline. Juliet is now only recovering memories. She is rebuilding trust in her own judgment. Amy confirms that the pills were real, the manipulation was deliberate, and Juliet's suspicions were justified. But the episode leaves us with one painful question. Did Amy survive being captured, or was her final act of resistance also a death sentence? The fact that she is taken alive may matter. Camille will want to know who recruited her, how long the pills were being swapped, whether anyone else was involved, and where Juliet was told to go. Amy may become the center of an interrogation that reveals how far the resistance has spread. At the same time, Amy may still have another role to play. She knows the hidden routes, understands the medical system, and may know more about the memory protocol than she admitted. Killing her immediately would waste valuable information, giving her at least a small chance of surviving. What makes Amy so effective is that her heroism is not presented as destiny. She is not the mayor, sheriff, or chosen leader of a rebellion. She is a nurse who was given access to a vulnerable patient and decided that access came with a moral responsibility. Camille wanted Amy to make Juliet helpless. Amy used the same position to give Juliet a chance. That is the deeper meaning of her betrayal. The algorithm sees people as functions. A nurse administers medicine, a guard follows orders, a mayor stabilizes the population. But human beings are not functions. They make choices, carry secrets, and form loyalties the algorithm cannot always see. Amy proves that even inside a system designed to control memory, information, movement, and fear, one person can still refuse the role assigned to them. Camille entered the infirmary believing Juliet's story was about to end. Instead, Amy turned that room into the place where Juliet's fight truly began again. And whoever asked Amy to replace those pills may have revealed that the resistance inside Silo 18 is far more organized, far more patient, and far closer to Camille than she ever imagined.